start at 10 sharp and teach the board. Where you find me is where we shall continue from. They make a timetable for a reason. Zafar, what happened to your mobile phone? Who like who? I do. I do recognize you. Which people do you normally pose around with to recognize you? Which lecturers don't recognize you? Some lecturers. So how haven't they taken the photo for you to be recognized? They can recognize no photo than a photo. Where? In my course, you look for the photo I took. Or you, somewhat? Some lecturer say that I use the course. Because this is which but you know the problem. You know the problem your photo has. You don't know. Your photo looked like the one because it was. This is your photo, and it was like this. It had some parts cut out. Either you draft the one of you crop out the one of the identity card and be the one you use, or you look for my photo. I don't know where. What I do. So, who is this same one? So that one I will fix that one. And have a room. When I'm due from wedding? Yes, for this course, for PHY 3112. Akim, you have not enrolled for this course here. When you see me smile, when I'm commenting and then I do that funny smile, you know things are not good. Sing a wide word. You have not enrolled. Why?
I am going to enroll.
You are going to enroll. Is Isaac here? Shiraz, I see you lounging around with the phone. The other time I even spoke to Rwanda when you were lounging around Kumba. But they are not enrolled yet. You see Ronald. Who is a friend of that pair? I see you people with smartphones. The internet is free. What does it cost you to enroll the course? I'm about to reach you. You see, what is the reason? Internet, phone problem, what is the problem? Because even if you forget your password, it has the forgotten my password option, where you fill in either your student name, your username, or put in your email associated with your account, and then it gets reset your password. So what reason do you give to him? You just don't care. Online assignment 1. Online assignment 1 will be up tonight, and I'm going to make it 500 numbers. And it will only be due for a week. It will be due for a week. That's how they work. So, then there is fiber. And here. Alloy. And here. Then Kasa. Now explain your case.
I always try I see that you cannot
go away. Never go away.
anyway. But they tell you you cannot enroll yourself.
And these other ones are not one road then. Did I enroll any of you? Luko? Did I enroll you? Fred? Did I enroll you?
When I went to we told you that people who have first have the same problem. So I always try but still fail.
So he failed. You won't be failed.
Yeah. For him he succeeded, but at first they have the same problem with the one. So I keep on trying.
Which problem? They don't mean keys, PHY 3112, no spaces, PHY in capital.
Just said you cannot enroll yourself in this course.
Can you try and show me that message? Since you got internet on the phone, then Nasun. I can see her somewhere. She went out. Susie, you get me that message. I want to see the message. I'll be glad to know such a message comes up so that I am always ready to help out students. Anyhow, please tell your math lecturer that the lecture stops at 9:59. And we are supposed to be in the next lecture at 10. And you tell her it is my lecture where you're going. Pardon? For me, I don't care. If you don't follow time, then you don't have my respect. Doesn't matter. I don't have these things of being nice to somebody. You respect my time. If you don't respect my time, I don't give a damn. Whether it is the DC or whatever. I don't care. I come here early morning, I never ask anybody to either to open for me or whatever. When I'm going, I go late. I started as a day scorer. I never waited for a bell to go for prep or whatever. I would go when I'm supposed to. So I hope that will be, and who teaches it? I don't know. And she's on what? She's the one who lives late. Yes. Ah, okay. That one I will tell her myself. I thought it was Juliet. I thought it was for Juliet. That one I'll tell her myself. You don't need to bother me. I'll tell her whether she thinks teaching in other people's time will make her finish early. Okay, so we were now on boundary conditions. Are there issues to do with them. I finish on time, I come on time. No business with other people. But you came 5 past. That's when you started to appear there, walking like this. That's how the Congeries were walking. I'm here waiting. I saw you there when you were making that corner bend like this. Yeah, with the napcon. You didn't seem like you were rushing anywhere. So this will make you rush online for the next week. By definition of the divergence of the electron displacement vector, maybe I should just make a rebound. Boundary conditions, you don't know how it feels like to prepare for a whole weekend just to enjoy the lecture. And then you come in here on time. Make sure the camera is set by 10. And then you have to wait for more 5 minutes. Like you're lousy. You don't know what to do. But you don't understand. So boundary conditions on the vectors, I know we had almost done this, but because we did it shortly just to finish the time. Does Mwere make notifications? Does Mwere make notifications? I don't remember where it was. Like I said, you are really a generation which is challenged by the circumstances around your survival. I don't know how you make it. I respect you very much. You are in a lecture and you are chatting with somebody who is chatting nonsense. How do you balance the two? That guy isn't boring. No, he tries. Just because the other person wants to sustain a conversation with you. Then you say, please let me now attend to the lecture. No, don't mind. It shouldn't be a problem. So how do you go in the library and concentrate? Do they allow phones in the library? Yes. I hear even in second that they are going to allow phones for kids. But for me, for second, I would prefer they make phones that don't have SIM cards. And then only provide with Wi-Fi, which is blocking some sites. If you give me your phones and I go to history, or go to the cache, do you know the cache? And I go to your cache, not money, and I see the things you were downloading or viewing, then you will find out that you are wasting your time on the phone instead of using it for the right stuff. It is until the third year, this first semester, you just have a couple of months and you'll be free, but you will not be free. I have a TV, but sometimes I reach home and I don't even look at it. What? So boundary conditions of the vectors, I need to do my part. If now you compare me with let me stay in my lane. trying just to have a normal component of the electric displacement vector. And we had a diagram that if we have this as the interface, and then we have a Gaussian pillbox, and then we have this as medium 1, this is medium 2, and then this is the normal, this would be the D2 in the medium 2, this is D1 in medium 1. If this is the DS, this is the H, this is the open surface S, and then this is the normal from medium 1 to medium 2 and 1 to 2 roof. Then the other, so this is the surface S with the surface free charge density sigma free. Then this is the Gaussian pillbox. And I think I've labeled most of the stuff. By definition, from mathematics, since you are praising the people of math, so mathematics is okay with you. So by definition, from mathematics, the divergence of the electric displacement, divergence of D would be defined as the limit as the elemental volume tends to 0, and then we have 1 over elemental volume integral over the surface S d dot N12 and then ds. And this should be equal to the limit if we insist on the thickness of the pillbox. So as h tends to 0, then we introduce the h into the volume, which would be the ds, the element of the volume, times the h, then integral into d2 minus d1 dot N12 roof ds, and now we use the ds diagram. Anyone who can confirm that this is the definition of the divergence from mathematics or mathematical methods in physics? Other than the divergence of D being equal to rho from Gauss's divergence theorem, can you confirm that this is the definition of the divergence from mathematical methods in physics? I guess you need dot product, cross product, divergence, then Stokes theorem, line integral. Where the tau is the volume, of the pillbox, the volume of the pillbox of height h and cross-sectional area cross-sectional area, yes, encompassing the two, media. So the area which is this area here, which is going astride. A pillbox is a tiny pin if you took it as a tiny pin. And this pin is across the two media, medium 1 and medium 2. So this is where we had reached almost. I put from where this. Thus we have this, the tau here being the same as the SH. Thus this the tau is equal to the S times the height. The base area times height is the distribution of volume. But the divergence of B is equal to rho free. The free volume, charge density. So this would imply that the limit as h tends to 0 of h divergence of B would be equal to the limit as h tends to 0. We substitute for divergence of D, which will be the same as rho free times h, and this is said to be equal to the same as sigma free. Hence, if we look closely, hence the D2, because we have divergence of D times H here. If we put this H this side, the S goes, and we have said that whole thing is equal to rho free. So that means that the N12 dot D2 minus D1, the dot product is, how do we call it, associative or distributive? A dot B is equal to A dot B dot A. No problem. One of these rules is equal to B dot. What is this? Distributive or associative? Associative. So that means now we can have this here, because this H went here, and we remain with the S here, which went with this one. So this and this one, after multiplying by H, taking the limit, was equal to sigma free. So that means that hence the N12 dot D2 minus D1 is equal to sigma free. And if we have a uniform, linear and isotropic material, that is, the properties across the material are the same. If the properties across the material are the same, that means that everything is okay. The surface charge density across will be the same. The volume charge density across the material is the same. So if that is the case, for homogeneous and isotropic dielectrics, when we talk of our media, medium 1, medium 2, we mean the dielectrics. which we have put here. The d2 is equal to epsilon 2 E2, which is epsilon naught of 2 E2. D1 is equal to epsilon 1 E, so and epsilon 1 is the same as epsilon naught, epsilon R1 E1, where the epsilon R1 and epsilon R2 are the dielectric constants of media 1 and 2. Of media 1 and 2. In the notes it is 2, 1 and 2, 1, just to follow this order of D2 and D1. Therefore, N12 dot D2 minus D1 is equal to N12 roof dot, we substitute for D2, which is epsilon naught, R2 E2, minus we substitute for D1, which is epsilon naught, epsilon R1, E1, and this eventually gets results to sigma free. And then we can have that E is equal to grad V, and then this implies that N12 dot epsilon R2 then grad V2 minus epsilon R1 grad V1 is equal to epsilon goes this side. I mean epsilon R, which is minus, the minus comes from the minus, E is equal to minus grad V. And this is sigma free of epsilon R. This is just algebraic gymnastics, so you don't have to feel bad that things are going anywhere with all of the symbols. Once you sit down and follow the derivation, it becomes easy. Thus, we can write this as epsilon R2 Kali V by Kali N minus epsilon R1 Kali V by Kali N equals to minus sigma free of epsilon naught. Grad V is the same as Kali V by Kali N for normal, since we are having this as dotted with the normal. The differentiation is normal to the surface. Where Kali by Kali N, denotes differential, denotes the differential along the outward normal, to the interface. That is normal to the interface. What outward is so the next one, 2.2. Am I too speed? I'm what? I'm too slow. Sorry, I'm going to improve. Yes.
In the next question, you need differentiate between the things. expression, we're not trying to do that V2 or V1.
I think it is V1 and V2 because it is from E1 and I'm just confirming, but it is 1 and 2. So the other one, this one is R2, so this is V2, R1, this is. Forgive me, I don't normally bother here because the notes are on web. So I expect that even if I write something and it doesn't come out, the notes are clear, they are verified. I have used them for some time. If you want me really to always be keen, it's okay, but I normally don't mind so much because it's not that I'm careless. But I want you to go somewhere to verify so that when you are reading your notes, you go to where and confirm. Otherwise, I should be coming here and just revise through the notes after all they are on the way. But I believe in you see, you forget, here forget and do. Remember. But thank you for the sharp eye. So boundary conditions. Boundary conditions on the tangential component. On the tangential component. Do you remember how this expression was arrived at in electricity and magnetism? Because we've said normal component and then we didn't do nothing about it, we just drew it on. But we in electricity and magnetism, we took the Gauss's law, we applied the Gauss's law and ended up with the D1, Dn1 equaling to Dn2, the normal component of the electric displacement vector. So we said there was continuity across the interface. And here we have tried to be mathematical. Come out with until when we now talk of this as being the normal component, and this is for the potential. So you can go back to much as we are going to repeat the same thing just after now when we combine the two of them going to the boundary, when the two of them are along at an angle theta to this other, theta 1 in medium 1, theta 2 in medium 2, but both of them D1, E1, and then, D2, and then D1, E1. Here we draw what we call the Stochasian loop. And once we put the Stochasian loop, then there are a few things I need to clarify on the diagram. So we have an interface. I hope I got my wires. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain anything if I don't have the wires. So you pray hard that I find them. But I did explain in electricity and magnetism. Yes? That had E. Okay, so we had ER2, epsilon naught, epsilon naught, okay, it is already here. Then E, this would be E2 minus epsilon R1, epsilon naught, E1. And this was equal to sigma free. Did we have N12 somewhere? N12 of that. But E is equal to minus grad V. Where you were not, that is before you came, where you were not today, those days when you had not come, we said that we shall use this expression for many, many years to come, many weeks for your case. So this would be N12 epsilon R2. Then instead of this, there is a minus grad V2, minus grad V2. So we have it as equal to minus sigma 4 over epsilon R. Do I continue or now it is okay? The negative was the problem, but we put it on this side. And I said it when I was, but it is okay. Isn't it you whom I said you should always be in front? It is fine. Is it you or her whom I said should always be in front? Both. I'll check in the video. Since you are trying to deny, I'll check in the video and then I'll get to know whom I put it. But I remember the hairstyle was like that of Grace. So, you still got an issue? Okay. So, we got an interface, and this is the interface I'm using here. My teaching aid is still useful. So, the diagram is that, I draw the diagram, then I'll be able to. So, this is the interface I'm going to draw, and I'm going to draw it like this. Then I will have the normal to the interface here, the normal here, but I'll use one of these that may be here. I've really punched it many times. It is now all bruised. And I'll get another one. Any one of you with the packaging that you can borrow me? Is it borrow me or lend me? Give me. I say lending so that you don't feel bad, because I want to return it anyway, it will be spoiled. So then I will have the loop here. The loop. So this is the plane of the interface. It is not drawn in the diagram. So this is the interface, the whole of this. But then I'm drawing the line here to show you that I'm along the interface. And then a bit of above this interface, I'm having one section of the loop here. And then below here, below the interface, I'm having the other part of the loop. And this one here is there. So this is it. I have the normal. And then I'm going to have to make loops. I don't know where am I. So I will get the two wires and make sure that I bend them, synchronize the bending so that when I put the other one on the other side, they look the same size. So I have the top part of the loop, which is this one here. And then I have the bottom, in the other medium, which is this one here. And this is the normal. look at the diagram, then it doesn't come out easily. Then there are these two other vectors. So this is N12 here. N12, this is the normal from medium 1 to medium 2. And then we have the, of course, we have this as the E2. And then we have this here as, I think I need to draw it mature from the, not from here. I don't know, people who don't know fine art how they draw these things. I think they just say, should I do this? Should I put here or put here? At the top here. For reasons of which I will explain, because this loop is so tiny, it's not tiny, it's so close to the interface, so we can as well draw the E2 coming out at this point, and then the E1 here, because the loop actually is very tiny. So this is E2. So this is medium 2, and this is medium 1. The loop has height h, which anyway is negative, and then we shall have we can take the loop from this way. Is this clockwise or unclockwise? The clock, where does the clock go? So this is unclockwise. So we have two vectors which I want you to watch closely. We have vector T roof, which is tangential to the loop. So the vector T is tangential to this interface here, but then we shall take it to be along the loop, which is along here. So this is the direction of the vector T, which I'm going to draw here. This is vector T roof. This vector here is tangential to the interface, but we draw it tangential to the loop, because the loop is just showing you an exaggeration. It's like magnifying. If you got a magnifying glass and try to magnify the interface to see how big it is. That's why we are drawing this. At the end of the day, it is so close to the interface, and we shall squeeze it to the interface, which I will do later. The other vector is vector B, roof. Vector B, roof, is pointing at me like this. But I cannot draw it as a dot. So I will draw it somehow coming from the same place T came from, T emanated here from, and then I will draw it here, and this is B, roof. So if I draw it without explaining to you, you may not see it coming out. It is not coming out from here and maybe parallel to this or extension. No, it's coming out of the interface straight away like this, but we cannot draw this in this dimension and just say a dot, and then we say that is B roof. Any other thing I need to explain here? No. The only thing I need to do is to show that this loop here is of length. Yeah. The rest is as you like. Is anyone having an issue with how that diagram comes about? So, just to explain a few things, N12 we said is the normal is the unit vector normal, unit vector normal to the interface, normal to the interface between medium 1 and 2. T roof is the unit vector normal, to the interface. No, this is tangential. Unit vector because T is here. Tangential to the interface. And then B roof is the one which is normal. The unit vector normal. I showed you B comes straight. The unit vector normal to the plane containing the loop. So B comes straight towards here to me, but it is normal to the plane. This is the plane that constitutes the loop. This one here. This is the plane. Plane means the flat. If you were to draw a flat, something flat, this is now our plane. So the normal unit vector normal to this plane containing this loop is what we are taking as the B. So the unit vector, this is the unit vector of B normal to the plane, normal to the plane containing the normal to the interface N12 and the tangential and T roof is called, this vector is called the binomial. And this binomial can be derived from T roof being the same as the B roof was N12. In the notes, you will see the cross product being X, but I prefer the inverted V. And like I normally say, if you do it the way I want, it will be like the saying that obey your parents and your blessings will overflow. So obey my rules and your marks will overflow. What is it? You don't believe? Try. Try me, you will never regret. By definition, I don't feel like rubbing off my stuff, but I'm sure you all can be able to get these definitions from the notes, and you can figure out how many lines you need to have them. What if I came with a projector and a screen and I start just going through the stuff? Won't that make life even better?
That's what it is.
That's the best.
That's what I want.
I just come, project the notes, then say this came from here, this came from here. Then we start from there tomorrow. By definition of the curve of the vector, for the previous part of the normal component, we did the divergence. Now, from the definition of the curve of the vector, then we got the B dot the curve of E is equal to the limit as ds tends to 0, and then we have this being 1 over ds integral E dot dl, and then we have the dl is the same as the t times the dl. And so this would be the same as the limit as h tends to 0. Then this is the area. Area is the same as the area of this loop here. The area of this loop is the, I don't know, it should be, this is length and then it should be width. So that would be the same as 1 over dl h or HDL, then E2 minus E1, then dot T, and then we have the DL on the outside, and then we close the bracket. And this would imply that this would be the limit as h tends to 0. This is mathematics, and all of you did math. HB roof, then dot, because we said T is the same as B cross N12, so this would be in the curve of E, and this would be the same as the E2 minus E1 dot T roof. I can now get off the diagram since I have tried to explain it so nicely. The limit. The reason I enjoy these courses is that I teach people who have done all sorts of mathematics. So I don't hustle. You have hustled already for me. Mathematical methods in physics, differential equations. So this would imply that the limit as h tends to 0, I think since we have equals this, so we can use this one here. Then we have HB roof dot the curve of E is equal to E2 minus E1 dot T. But we said that T can be defined with the binomial, which is the B cross N12. So substituting in, we get the limit as h tends to 0. Then we have the HB roof dot the curve of A B cross N12 roof for T, then dotted with the E2 minus E1. This right hand side can be written how we have a cross product here, we have a dot product here, we can rearrange it. So you tell me which property we have used. B roof, that, and then we have the N12 cross E2 minus E1. What property have we used? This is by interchanging the dot product and the cross product. These quotation marks are to say cross product. In the notes it is an X. I'm using now inverted things. So let the limit as h tends to 0 e nu the curl of e nu h the curl of e equal to the N12 cross E2 minus E1, then plus, is it called linear independent constant? How do you call it in your mathematics? Plus some constant lambda N12. And we call this one equation 1 since it looks strange. Thus, if we got N12 and then that with equation 1, this equation 1 we have just gotten yields in terms of the mathematics we shall be requiring. But since you told me those of you are doing numerical analysis too, is it numerical analysis too or? Yes, you said that you are doing the rigors and but you said you are already done by cell functions in mathematical methods in physics. Pardon? How do we call this lambda in this equation? If we introduce it and we are having this correlation and trying to make sure that we get the flow of the equation in mathematics. What is the lambda called? Some constant. But what is its name in mathematics? Eigenvalue. Something like that. So then we got the, if we dot the N12 and then it will yield to limit as h tends to 0, and then we got the N12 roof, then dotted with the h in the curl of E, and this should be equal to what you are telling me as eigenvalue as being equal to lambda. And if it is equal to the lambda, then we take the N12 roof to be some vector z, or to be along the z. Then we have the limit as h tends to 0, h kali y by kali x minus minus Kali X by Kali Y. And then we have this being equal to lambda. You remember that part of the helix when we had the charges moving, getting a velocity along the x and along the y. And then we said if you gave it a velocity along the z, then it would spiral instead of just making the other first one we got a circle when it was not having any component along the z. Now when you give it a velocity along the z, then it gave us a helix with a pitch, whatever. And if you remember very well, we had this correlation from the expression of the curve, from the curve of the A being the same as along the x, the y, the z, and then here we'll be having the Kali by Kali x, Kali by Kali y, Kali by Kali z, and of the components ex, ey, ez. This is where you get this. So since the derivatives Kali y by Kali x since the derivatives if this one, where this one comes from, for the z component, for this z component, you cover z. When you cover z, then you take the how do we call that thing of this minus this? The determinant. That's the word. Okay, whatever. Assume that is the word, but I think there is a nicer word. So then we get to get this one here, that means we would have this one minus this one, which is Kali ey by Kali x minus Kali ex by Kali. That's how we get the z component. And that's how this came about as a result of this one here. So since the derivatives Kali y by Kali x by Kali y are finite, since they are finite, we can derive them and get them. Then we get the limit h in this their difference being equal to 0. Then the limit as h tends to 0, h in Kali y by Kali x minus Kali x by Kali y will be equal to 0. So the left hand side equals to equals 0. So what would be our eigenvalue? Equal to? This thing is equal to 0. So lambda will be equal to? And thus, the curl of E, sorry, the N12 cross E2 minus E1 will be equal to the limit as h tends to 0, h in the curl of E. say the curve of E equal to, when you curl electric field lines, what do you get? They collapse. But the curve of E equals to 0. So that means if the curve of E equals to 0, and we are having the N12 cross E is equal to the other side. So whether you limit it or you don't limit it or you make it is a 0. Some of you believe when you go to church, when you are there are some students who believe that they can pray and then they go to exam and they just get marks without even writing anything. Like a sister who took and put a rosary in the exam and sat. And when the exam ended, she handed it. I don't remember whether she passed or not. The Bible says God helps those who help themselves. In which part of the Bible?
Yes.
Why would I care? You go to the small good news Bibles. I had one. I don't remember whether I got it. I will check in my suitcase. I used to love that one for one reason. Because that small Bible had all sorts of scenarios. You are in problems, then you go to Psalms 11:28 to something. Yeah, you are in happiness, then they give you a verse. That's how I used to read the Bible. I only read the Bible seriously when I was looking for my names. I wanted to know the meaning of my two names. Because when I got a chance to meet people, some people would prefer to call me this, others would prefer. The Germans would love to call me this. Then other people struggle to call me this. This means peace.
Yeah.
So this one here, I'm the son of Rachel and Jacob. So Rachel had issues with pregnancy. So she called me son of problems. And so Jacob said, no, you can't call my son of problems. She changed it to Benjamin. And indeed, naturally, okay, I am this name, but in the village, my father had given me this name. And no, not that. This one, not the other one. This one here. So when I grew up and when I was young, even my brothers, big bros, never used to care. They would call me that. But now when I started becoming a boss, they started feeling uncomfortable. So I had to check to know why would this guy call me. I already had names which were official. Why am I? Because from P1 to P3, this is the name that is on my books. From P3 to P5, I had another name. It is Galish. I can't tell you the name. Now in P5, I went for catechism, for confirmation. So from confirmation, we needed to bring the actual documents of baptism. And I had the baptism card with the clear names, even with the birth certificate from, I think, the sub-county had my Benon TWINAMASIKO. So from that day, after being confirmed, and I have the baptism and the confirmation cards, both having my 3 names. P6, I started now being the real guy. And from that day, if you write, and this university has a behavior of cutting off one of my names, so I will sue it, one of these names. There are 3 names, they should all be together. This is when I read the Bible. And if the whole story, I don't know why my mother told me this, some of problems. My father tried to rectify it, but these, like, the brothers fear to call me boss now, because it sounds like I'm going to be boss of them. So I let them be, so they prefer, and then I have another brother who has, for him is Benson, so they can't call me Ben, they have to stick to Uncle Fred. That's when you talk about Fred, I feel uncomfortable, because that's like the name that is commonly known in the family. So most of you don't know why they called me the name they called you. But I had to look for it. That's when I read the Bible seriously, looking for what I wanted. Look for the actual issues. Otherwise, I would read that a small thing. For only if I'm happy, if I'm happy, like, have you ever been happy and you don't know what is going on? Like you feel you are excited, like you are high. Eh?
Yes.
Then I would go there and first, then the Bible says, when you feel so happy, don't be overexcited, just stay calm, then I become calm. When somebody malices me and I'm really very angry, then I go there, and then some verse says, never revenge to your enemies, then I take it easy. Nowadays I don't care, I have had enough of problems that I no longer need any advice from the Bible. I just refer to one of my occasions. If it is happiness, I refer to when I was happy and remember how I behaved. If it is problem, I refer to one of the problems. And for me, when I'm in real problems, it's like I'm high. I make sure I take it easy. So if I smile when you are doing something, you know I am really doing badly. If I am tough on you, you know you won't get any problems. If you feel I'm rough on you, you know I've already forgiven you, but I'm just scaring you. So then if that is the case, that we remember that the curl of E is equal to 0, whence then we got that this whole, if this is 0, then this is all equal to 0. So this here equals 0. Whence N1 to cross E2 minus E1 is equal to, it is okay, you Google. You Google for whence. If it is not there, then I will define it for you. So when you get this as a tangential component equal to 0, then we say that it is continuity across the interface. So the electric field lines actually are able to go along the interface and spread across. If you have your, so the electric displacement vector will go and cross the interface from plate A to plate B, whatever the case. So from positive plate to the negative plate. That is D. So D will be able to go through comfortably. That is on the account that there is no surface free charge density on the interface, which is the case when you have a perfect dielectric. So for perfect dielectrics, you won't find any surface charge here, so you have the continuity of the D across the interface. Whereas for the tangential component, the electric field lines will be able to spread across the interface, and then you still have the whole energy, electric energy being stored in the electric field within the dielectric. That's why when we embed the dielectric within the capacitor, then we enhance its capacitance, because we will be able to enhance the electric field which is in between, and the charge will be, the energy we want to use as within a capacitor will be stored in that enhanced residual or long-lasting electric field. So these are the two key boundary conditions for D and E in this part of electricity, the electrostatics part. So we'll be having N12 dot B2 minus B1 equals to, this is for when you have rugged dielectric, so that you can have some free charges lounging around on the interface. But when you talk of perfect dielectric, they stick together, and if there is any free charge being lounging around, it will neutralize with the other, so you have nothing there, so there will be continuity. This will be equal to 0 if you talk of perfect. So this is equivalent to 0 for perfect dielectric interface. And then the next one is what we have just done, N12 cross E2 minus E1 equaling to, this one straight away gives you continuity. Much as we haven't reached there, but when we go to the magnetic part, then we shall be able to have, in a similar fashion, N12 dot B2 minus B1 should equal to 0, and then N12 cross H2 minus H1 should equal to the JS, but this JS, so the comparison, this in here are the dielectrics. In the case of the H, they are laminates of the transformer. So the tangential magnetic fields the H's will be able to go along the interfaces of the laminates. If you don't cut them, then that's when you get the JS. This one here is what we call the eddy currents, which you read about. That you will be having now, if you had a continuous laminate, then you would have current being induced in that continuous, let's say if you just had one huge iron core, that iron core will behave as a conductor, and the current will be induced in it and it will start flowing. So you will have an eddy current. To chop that off, to remove that problem, then we make laminates, and that's when you get this equaling to 0 when you have the laminates. So you get this one being 0 when we have laminates, which eliminate eddy currents. So these are the 4 key boundary conditions for the field vectors DE, B, and H. But we shall derive these other 2 when time comes. For now, let's concentrate on these ones here. So we say the tangential component, tangential because this is the sign. This is normal times this. So we have unit vector 1 times the E1, then the angle between them is the sine, and when you take the sine of if you remember the loop here, if you take the sine of this, the angle is here. This is the theta 2. if you take the sine of this angle, this is our E, you take the sine, you stretch away, so you go along the inner face, which is tangential to the inner face. So the tangential component of the electric field intensity is continuous. Across the inner face. In other words, there is continuity as you go across the inner face. So, we're going to consider an interface for perfect dielectrics. Perfect meaning that they stick together. They almost behave as though it's one. Their properties are the same, but an interface, they stick together. Meaning that you won't find any free charge at the interface. So, consider an interface. Between two perfect linear dielectrics. In other words, if they are perfect and linear and you stick them together, you won't find any free charge density at such a place. So I'll just draw it in 2 dimensions. We have medium 1 here, and then we have medium 2 here. And if we take this as the normal, then we have D1, DE1 for the field vectors in medium 1 and medium 2. And then we have this one here for D2, E2. If this is the angle they make with the normal in medium 1 as theta 1, this is the angle they make with these two field vectors make with the normal from medium 1 to medium 2 is theta 2, and medium 1 is having permittivity epsilon 1, and medium 2 epsilon 2. We already have these two conditions that for perfect dielectrics, the normal N12 dot D2 minus D1, or there is continuity of the electric displacement vector across the interface, and the other one, the tangential component, is continuous across the interface. So continuity of the normal component, continuity of the normal component of electric displacement vector D states that N12 dot D2 minus D1 equals to 0. We can just say N this if you want. Since there are no free charges, since there are no free charges, at the interface. And so this implies that the normal in medium 2 is equal to the normal component in medium 1 from electrical magnetism. And then we got the normal to the interface is the D2 cos theta 2 is equal to D1 cos theta 1. So assuming this is taken as equation 1, then the continuity of the electric field intensity across the interface as that is the tangential component as our second condition would give us that I've rubbed it, but have it in mind that actually it is there. So we got the continuity of the tangential component, continuity of the tangential component continuity of the tangential component of E gives us that the end roof cross E2 minus E1 is equal to 0. And that means, of course, where n is where n roof is the normal to the interface. We are not putting the 1,2s, is the normal to the interface from medium 1, medium 2, so just writing it nicely like this one, this would imply that E2t equals to E1t. And the tangential component of E is the stretching this theta 2. So this would imply that E2 sine theta 2 is equal to E1 sine theta 1. This is equation 2. Comparing the two equations and being cognizant of the fact that the electric displacement vector is related to the electric field intensity, or is proportional to electric field intensity, whereby the proportionality constant is the conductivity, or how this material is permitting the electric field lines. Then we have from D is equal to epsilon E, D1 is equal to epsilon 1 E1, or this medium here. And then we got the D2, epsilon 2 E2. So if we just do some algebraic gymnastics and divide equation 1 by 2, then we get that equation 1 divided by equation 2 implies that we have D2 over E2, D2 over E2, and then we got the cos over sine. What is cos over sine? Is equal to d1 over e1 cot theta 1. And from this here, we can substitute for these. So this would imply that epsilon 2 E2 over E2 cot theta 2 is equal to epsilon 1 E1 over E1 cot theta 1. Therefore, epsilon 2 cot theta 2 is equal to epsilon 1 of theta 1. And this used to be some kind of, there was a question somewhere in Electromagnetism for a given on a perfect electric interface, show that epsilon 2 cot theta 2 is equal to epsilon 1 cot theta 1. So it's all about remembering the continuity of the electric displacement vector, the normal component of the displacement vector, normal coming out of this. This dot product gives you the cosine. And that cosine is when you are collapsing this angle here to get this component of D, which now ends up being normal to the interface. This cross product ends up giving you a sign, meaning that you'll be stretching this angle here, ending up with an E component that is along the interface. This is the interface. And then you get eventually this kind of stuff. So we now know how electric field lines behave at an interface, and it goes beyond to show us the lines which are stretching either from free charges to free positive to free negative. That gives us electric displacement. And then the other one would be from the free to the bound, bound to bound, or bound to free. And then of course we get the electric field intensity, which is taking account how the material is permitting the electric field lines. But sometimes we just need to carry the electric field lines straight by using a material, for example, a conductor. And then we need to know how conductors behave. How do they, or how are they related to the electric field when they are exposed to one? So the next part is conductors. I had a banana cable last time, which I think I put somewhere, but I'll start moving with it because I've been needing it all the time. So we need to know a bit of the basic properties of a perfect canal. Basic properties of a basic, of an ideal or a perfect conductor. since I'm training you for competence-based curriculum, let me not be pouring knowledge on you. So, any volunteers for telling us what a perfect character is? Fred, what property does a metal or a marino got, of course? Is there any perfect character of the marino? Is it a perfect character when it is not a metal? It must be. Not the taxi character. This is a heat or this is a heat or okay. Yes, you received. Do you know any?
Free charges should have abundance of free charges.
Very good. So it should be having. It should be so rich. It should be a billionaire of that. And I think it is true. When you are rich, you are a character. Everyone wants to be around you. True or false? Because you got free cash flowing. When you become broke, we forget about you. Any other? Yes, I mean.
It has a zero resistance.
A zero?
Electric resistance.
Zero electrical resistance. Okay. Jeremy, what do you know about the perfect character? No idea. Please try. You know, when I was in second, did I tell you about my story with the nun? My time is not enough. I had an issue. I had a nun, I think, because when I was very young, I was looking nice. So I don't know whether she was just liking me. I had a nun who was teaching us biology. And I'm the one who was the drawer of all the textbook, whatever she taught, and there is to draw and the drawer. So when she has finished, me, I'm the one who goes on board and draws for my friends. And I think one time I even went to the covenant to pick the book, but I stayed out near the reception. That's why she brought the textbook. I think she liked me. She's now an old woman. I haven't seen her. I would like to ask her why she gave me problems. So in A3, everyone now was allowed to borrow books. So we could draw from books. So I became useless. That first term, my report came with biology having no mark. I didn't say anything. I took the report. They grilled me at home. I was, I think, the second. What happened to biology? I said, I have no idea. The thing is blank. So I kept quiet. I came and sat when she was giving back the scripts. My script had 70%. So when the lesson ended, I went out and asked her, my anger was, you can't forget PFTR. It's the drawer. This is the report you should look for first, you know? So I said, well, how come I have a dash, not even a comment, not even something, and I got a 70? She's like, my son, I don't know, she's wicked. I would love to see her. They told me she's now very worried. I would love to see her. Cut a story short, we went through a lot of stuff, but after that, I started keeping quiet, no answering in her lessons. So one day she came and taught. I remember the answer was red blood cells, but I don't remember the question. So I was there. But I would just receive her biology, but I was not bothered about. So then she said, oh, And Benon, I answered, red blood cells. I knew my son knows, but she talked too much rubbish. But may I maintain, you can't forget a student whom you have been, who has been helping you. How do I explain to my guardian? Much as I was the second, how do I explain? So we had a lot of troubles, even after S6. But when I came here, I met them at the arts quadrangle, that stretch from between the main building that stretches out going the other side. So this teacher who was with her, when I met them, he greeted me. I think she was on the left. And then he took my hand to her, and then I shook her hand. And I went on. But they knew that I had chopped off my wires. You can't. Logically, you cannot forget me and you sign people's reports. And mine is having an empty space, not even a dash, not even missed, or was absent, or is lousy. But my answer sheet has 7%. So I'll ask whether she's still okay. There are other stories between her that I can't tell you because we really faced it until when I finished S6. But there was a teacher who was a friend to my guardians. And when I met him repairing a bike, I was at a repairing place, and he said, "Hey, young man, how did you perform?" I said, "I'm waiting for results, I don't know." Because I had 20 points. Not the 20 points of this day, I had PCM and that. For him, when my results came, and they said I got 20 points, he was jumping like as if he's my father. So it made that man feel bad. And so I don't know why you really say that you have no idea. Where do you live? And I have no problem with you. Where do you live to say that you have no idea that you can't say nothing about the characters unless you had an issue with me? Muzaffar, anything about a character?
Yeah.
Yes.
In electronics, you can introduce the what you call the coefficient. Is it called?
Something like that.
Yeah. People that does have a law, temperature coefficient.
Okay. How is that related to resistance? How is the temperature coefficient of, you said the coefficient of what?
Is it coefficient?
I don't know. It's telling me. Okay, so fine. You got a, yes.
Okay. I think you should have what we call infinite conductivity.
Infinite
conducts.
conducts.
Yes.
So how does that work? How do you conduct infinitely?
I think by having like zero negligible resistance.
Okay. So you are emphasizing that this is okay. Any other? This is how wasteful competence-based curriculum is. I've wasted 10 minutes asking people to tell me. Anyone who has benefited? Anyone who has benefited from my arguments with you that this one is coefficient of something, and you are now educated. You did electricity and magnetism, you did roots moral. The other ones are blank. You are sending them for the computer-aided learning on a PC which got no internet, and then you expect them to give you answers which make sense. Okay, so we shall be more concerned about the things that we have been talking about that we shall be involved with. So we shall be basically understanding how is the electric field intensity provided by the, or within conductors, how does it behave? How does the potential within this kind of conductor behave? How does the, well, this one, but how does the volume charge density, how is the volume charge density within such a material? So, a perfect conductor may be considered as a material that contains an unlimited supply of free charges, as Fred said, and this definition will be able to give us the idea of what is going on inside. And what is going on inside will be, you won't find an electric field inside, because electric field intensity goes from positive to, and when you have a perfect conductor, that means inside there you have equal positive and negative charges. So they neutralize each other inside, you won't find any issue. If there is any issue, whenever you are here in class, I expect you to be concentrating and have no feelings with each other, even those who insisted and they decided to sit together and I pretended I haven't seen them. But the moment you leave here, when you visit each other there, that's when you start expressing your issues. Only charges which are on the surface are able to give. So the electric field density can only be experienced on the outside of the conductor. And if there are no charges inside the conductor, you cannot find volume, you cannot find there any volume charge density. And then finally, you will find that the potential inside this conductor will be constant. And then after that, then you will be able to find out a couple of things to do with it. So I have, what do you have next? I want also to punish the next lecture. Huh? Pardon? So is tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Yes.
From
15 hours.
From 15. I don't want to forget that, no, not forget, but mistaken. So we shall start from conductors, and I think you should start revising your mathematical methods in physics so that I don't spend so much time explaining the math instead of the electromagnetism.